Oh, so you think maybe psychotherapist speaking now, right? So you think maybe I'm blocking my finding my thing because I don't want it to change?
You might be committed to searching.
Oh, good Lord.
But that's a practice too.
You know what? I just put the pieces together. You know what the common denominator between that is for me? I was alone in a sea of people.
It's your thing.
It's my thing. Apparently it's my thing.
Found your thing.
Never made that connection before, but yeah, that was the one unifying thing. Did you like that?
No, I'm not. That's not my thing, but you know how I said a lot of my colleagues are into certain things and they have specialties? Like, I could hook you up, but
She got the hookup. I know a guy. Karen.
Yes.
I need you to be honest.
Okay.
Just for a second. Okay.
I'm always actually honest.
I know, but it just sounds more fun that way.
Oh, okay.
How many half-finished spiritual practices do you have sitting around right now? Like a crystal you bought with good intentions, a breathwork app you opened twice, meditation cushion that's currently being used as a footrest.
Not as many as you.
Well, and so all those I just mentioned, the crystal, breathwork, that's just from this year alone, right?
Yeah.
Apparently, Karen,
Yes.
there are approximately 4,287 and a half ways to be spiritual.
Looks like I'm going shopping.
Oh, no, forgot to mention anything. No, but
I got my pendulum collection. What's next?
Oh gosh, no, we got meditation, prayer, sound baths, crystals, forest bathing, gratitude journaling, fasting, not fasting, thinking positive thoughts while fasting. Today's guest has looked at all of that and said, what if you just didn't?
I like that.
I
can do that.
I know, it's easy to do, right? Well, she's a licensed psychotherapist who spent nearly 2 decades watching people torture themselves over whether they were being spiritual correctly.
Oh.
Her prescription? Stop following someone else's truth. Build your own with a disco ball.
I like that.
Really. Stay with us. This might be the most freeing hour of your week, and it requires absolutely zero crystals. My name is Will.
And I'm Karen.
And unlike Mulder and Scully,
both want to believe.
So we've embarked on a journey of discovery.
We've talked to people deeply entrenched in the spiritual and metaphysical world.
We've thrown ourselves into weird and wonderful experiences. I even joined a coven of witches.
And wait, you joined a coven?
Yep, all in the interest of finding something.
Anything.
That will prove that there's something beyond this physical,
three-dimensional world we all live in.
This is the Skeptic Metaphysicians.
Hey there, I'm Will.
And I'm Karen.
Welcome back to the Skeptic Metaphysicians, the show where we give you full permission to throw out the rule book, keep what works, and finally stop feeling guilty about that meditation cushion that you may or may not be using as a footrest, Karen.
Why me? It's always me.
Certainly can't be me. Our guest today is Faith Freed. She's a licensed psychotherapist, a spiritual guide, and the founder of Freed Om. Get it? A company built around what she calls DIY spirituality. Now, Faith has spent nearly 2 decades in clinical practice helping people find clarity, confidence, and connection. And along the way, she noticed something. Most of the people she worked with weren't spiritually lost. They were spiritually exhausted by rules that they didn't even choose, right? Labels that didn't fit and the quiet guilt of never quite getting it right. So she built something different. Her divine disco ball framework maps out 4 dimensions of spiritual connection. Your source, your spirit, your body, and your mind, and the natural world around you, and it lets you decide which one needs tending and when and how. She's the author of multiple books, including her newest release, DIY Spirituality, Chart Your Own Sacred Path, and she is here today to make the case that spirituality isn't something you follow or get right. It's something that you get to create. Faith. Welcome to the Skeptic Metaphysicians.
I'm delighted to be with you, both of you.
We are thrilled to have you here. And now that I know what we're going to be talking about today, I'm even more thrilled. And I love disco balls.
All right. So Faith, let's just dive right into the topic, right? Why are there so many people? Why is spiritual failure so common? And where does that actually come from?
Oh, gosh. Spiritual failure. What a leading question.
Welcome to Skeptic Metaphysicians.
Yeah, okay, let's go. So I don't think of it like that. I actually, the way that I view spirituality is that if you're connecting in your own way, in a way that rings true and resonates, then you're doing it right. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe it's more about reframing that your spirituality is yours to curate and play with, and, and you can always update it.
Mm.
But, the idea that you do have to do it a certain way is really not what I believe. You know what I'm
So
saying?
Mm.
so what if you are practicing in a way that feels really good to you, it resonates, you feel like you're doing it all right, and nothing's happening?
Yeah. Well,
Asking
you
for a
know
friend.
what? Okay,
Asking for
so
a friend, huh? Yeah.
Yeah.
oh, okay, okay. So, you're trying to get me to tell you that's a failure, and I'm not going to.
Well, good.
I think that, because I think that spirituality is kind of like a buffet of things that you can try on, and you keep what works and let go of what doesn't. And so I really respect that you guys have sampled lots of different things. Like back in the day, we used to make a playlist like on a cassette with all of our favorite music. I mean, people still do that, I guess, digitally. But, it's your favorite songs of any genre. And I think spirituality is like that. You can have your own playlist. So if you're doing a practice that isn't moving you or lighting you up, you might just want to dispense with it for now.
Mm.
But that's not a fail, because I think that trying new things is a great idea. It's part of the process.
Right. And in fact, when we started the show, it was about exploring all these different modalities and seeing what fit, because I was trying to figure out what the heck, right? What was
Oh,
going on. But as of late, I am one of those that is feeling spiritually exhausted.
ah,
It's one of these things where Uh, I've been meditating every single day for years. I have, uh, we've done breath work, we've done energy healings, we've done sound baths, we've done all that kind of stuff, and they feel good, but I don't feel like I'm any further forward or more advanced than I was when I started 5 years ago to a certain extent.
Maybe it's about managing our expectations.
Mm, so then, someone like me who has been who's been working so hard to get enlightened, for lack of a better term, and yet I'm finding that all I'm doing is spinning my wheels. What do you recommend? How can I get off the hamster wheel and actually find real progress?
yeah. And I think you brought up a really important point. Is kind of like, what are your expectations, and what does that end goal look like? It feels like this quest for enlightenment might be a lofty goal. I don't think even people who say they're enlightened, I have my questions. I
Mhm.
think in this life we have ego, and it serves us, and we have to have that. So, it's maybe not enlightenment, maybe it's glimpses of bliss, or moments of feeling really connected or feeling led. And so if something just tickles your arm hair, or maybe you have an incredible insight or moment of light during a meditation, or after a yoga class, those that's what we're looking for, touching in,
Mhm.
right? And when you say spinning, I think you said spinning your wheels, you know, you could look at it like, this isn't a mental process. And I think that is, explained in the book in terms of all these different areas that we can touch upon. So there's the mental and the physical, which is usually the entry point for us, because we're human, and that's where we go. But then you have your soul and your spirit. And so the soul and the spirit are going to be the area, I think, where you want to feel turned on. You want to feel engaged when you're doing your spiritual practice, right? So if you're, first of all, you don't want to overthink it. And then if you feel like, all right, here I am 5 years later, and I don't feel any different, any better, any more connected with myself or my source, then you could change it up and do some different things. I would suggest that probably the meditation is serving you in ways you might not know, but you can stop and you can do other things.
Well, let's talk really specific stuff because I know the audience is, um, there's bound to be people out there like me that are feeling the same way. So when we talk about specifically the stuff that I'm going through, for example, I am aware of the fact that we are all connected. I am aware that the connection goes deeper than just husband and wife or friend or brother or sister, but much deeper at the soul level. And I would like to feel that connection all the time. And yet I don't, as much as I try to. And I will go on a really great run, and then something will happen at work and it'll ruin everything for me. And then I have a hard time getting back into it. So then my answer is always to dive back into the books and do the breath work, do the more meditations, do the like affirmations. Like, what am I doing wrong?
Yeah, I hear you. I think you're describing what it's like to be human, and that, it is a process. I think that's why we have practices and rituals, because it's like upkeep, and like so many things. In your relationship, you have to make an effort. You have to bite your tongue sometimes, be patient, and remember love is a verb, like faith is a verb too. So it's yes, there's effort, and I hear that. And and I think it's easy to sort of say, well, where is this all going? What do I actually what have I gained? But it is a kind of a work in progress, and it's something that, it's where you have to lift the weights, 3 times a week to see results. I think you have to just keep with your practice, but notice when it does work. Because you're right. I mean, you go for the run and you feel amazing. You probably have an endorphin high for 30 seconds, and then you find that someone, parked so you can't get in your car or whatever it is, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I feel your pain, because that's what my life is like too. And I think it's what we all experience. So that's why we have to have touch points to go back to lift us back up and get us back into the zone, of the divine. And I think too, it just simple ways of connecting in those times are good. Like, I don't believe that if you're connected with your source, things are going to be easy and everything is going to be, lovely and bells and rainbows. It's just, you can be connected with your source in the good times and the bad, and in the dull times and in the trying times. And that might be a good way to test your connection. Not just, hey, do I feel amazing? Have I touched bliss? Do I have the oneness, within me all right now? There's that. But there's also like, do I feel supported? Do I feel like I can ask for help in the trying times? Can I ask, how does this make sense? Show me. I think that you can feel connected in those kind of ways too. Does that make sense?
Sure. Yeah.
And I think that the way we are socialized or raised in this culture changes a little bit our quest for this connection, because I think it's almost the way you're describing it. You start to treat it like work, like
Yeah.
it's your job. And
Yeah.
it's, I've got to do this at this time. I've got to do this for this long. And it becomes this thing. Now, the difference at work, you get your paycheck at the end.
Right.
And with this, you're not getting your paycheck. So there's that dissatisfaction, but you're not realizing the subtle changes that are happening along the way. And I think that's the key. If you can start to maybe see some of those, you won't be so upset when you don't see the big,
Right.
shebang at the end of the week.
To be fair, I have seen a lot of big changes in me over the past several years. But Faith, do you have to do something? Like, do you have to do a practice, or can you find your way in a simpler way?
I think that you probably know the answer to that. And you don't have to do a practice. Yeah, you don't have to.
I asked that question because I think this is the first time I'm actually talking about this on the show, but I'm finding myself much more aligned with not practicing and instead just allowing myself to be. right? And the power of just being, as much of being in the moment as I possibly can be, the easier it is for me to connect, it seems like. So when I introduced you in the beginning of the show and talked about people doing all these things and still having a hard time finding it or being exhausted, maybe the answer is just put it all down
Yeah.
and instead find yourself.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I love
I
that. And
I'm sorry, go ahead.
well, I was just going to say, it's interesting. After I got my license, I think, as a psychotherapist, I had a doctor tell me to do nothing. And he said, don't even meditate. Just sit on a park bench. And, and it was so mind-boggling because I thought, that if I was going to sit on a park bench, I should meditate, right? Because then I'm going to get more bang for my buck, right?
Right, right.
And but
We do live in America.
Mm,
yeah, exactly. We're achievement oriented.
Mhm.
mhm,
And yet it was so freeing to think that I don't have to meditate in the stillness. I can just observe what's going on.
Mm.
And so I think just, you're getting into the essence of life and of yourself and simplifying. And I think that to take away the idea that there are steps, 3 tips to enlightenment.
mhm.
It's not, and saying, "Hey, it's not true," I think you're right on target there.
Yes, finally got one.
So, do you think it would be just as challenging for someone to be able to do that as it would for them to, say, start a new meditation practice?
Mm,
Yeah. That's a good point. I think it's really hard to kind of do nothing. And the thing too is we're saying do nothing, but uh it sounds like there's an intention
right.
Mhm,
to stay connected or stay, lit up. And so the thing is that's very portable. You can do it anytime, anywhere. You can do it right now.
Mm,
Are you doing something? I don't know. That's a toughie, but I think that people like structure and they like routine. And so, it's helpful to just keep it on your radar if you have something to signal, don't forget soul and spirit today, like,
mhm.
11:11 on the clock or whatever it might be. It's nice to have, you have the meditation cushion that may or may not be used as a footstool, but in some way it's just a reminder.
right,
Mhm.
Have
right.
I been still
Yeah.
today?
Yeah. So it's interesting. A couple of months ago, we live in Virginia and we live close to Busch Gardens in Williamsburg. And I took my daughter to Busch Gardens because she was going there with a bunch of friends. And someone had to supervise, chaperone. But once we got into the park, they all just scattered. And I was left there going, okay.
Actually, someone just had to drive.
So, right. That's a better way of putting it. Right.
Right.
And so when I told my friends that I went to Busch Gardens and I spent the entire day by myself at an amusement park, they were all like, "Oh my God, that must have been terrible. What were you doing?" It was the most amazing thing I had done in a very long time because I was able to notice the people around me, the dichotomy. It's the whole sidewalk cafe thing, but on steroids. I was able to see people on roller coasters and eating and watching shows and connecting with what life was really about because my cell phone was dying and I had to keep it charged to make sure that my daughter could reach me. So I couldn't be on it. So it was actually incredibly freeing, which is what started me on this path of just allowing myself to live in the present moment. And I
Mhm.
think that helped a lot. So now you have in your book, you've got this divine disco ball framework. And I called it out in the teaser, but I have to mention it. We have to talk about it because people are going, why would he bring up a disco ball into the whole thing? Right. So tell us about your disco ball framework.
Well, the funny thing is that it's been a disco ball since like 2008 and when disco was really out of fashion and now there are disco
Mhm.
balls everywhere.
Right.
But it is the symbol that I chose just to capture my spiritual bases. There are 4 of them because it it makes me want to celebrate, and I think that's what life is all about. What you're talking about at Busch Gardens, it sounds like a celebration. Just observing people and enjoying everybody kind of experiencing things that delight them and thrill them.
Mhm.
And so it's a nod to the party of life. And I feel like celebration is a form of worship, if you will.
Mhm.
It's a form of gratitude, right, for this life. So that's why it's a disco ball. And it has 4 areas that are different colors. The first being body mind. So that would be like a portal, right, to your divinity. Then you have soul spirit, and then infinite source or your source, the divine, however you conceive of that, and nature, which is the divine embodied. You sort of, if you may say, I've been overthinking my spirituality lately. You could move to a different quadrant and check that out. Like maybe you go to nature and just go into the woods or
Mm.
wherever it is. I don't know if
Mhm.
they actually have gardens at Busch Gardens, but
Oh,
you know
yeah.
what
They
I'm
do.
saying?
It's
Okay, there you go.
apparently
Um,
it's the prettiest park in the world, right?
Prettiest theme park, yeah.
And it's been voted in, like, I don't know, 18 years in a row or something
Yeah.
crazy like that. It's beautiful.
see?
Yeah.
Yeah, go to the gardens.
Mm.
And I love so much that you call it a disco ball, and it just reminded me of this dream, I guess, that I had a while ago where I was just drifting off to sleep, and I just had this, like, vision, and it was just all black, and then this, like, shimmering ball appeared. And it was made out of just, like, I don't know, like a sphere, like, you could kinda see through it, so it had, like, the lines going this way and the lines going this way across it, but it kind of was like a disco ball. It was this big, glistening, glittery, beautiful
Mm.
sphere, and in my head, whatever, I was dreaming or thinking or seeing was saying, "Well, this is what consciousness is."
Wow.
I'm like
Whoa.
Yeah. She gets all the cool
That's
downloads. I just get the, "Hey, go be alone."
ah,
I'm
well,
like,
I
"Yeah."
love that, and it likens it to the moon as well. I
Mhm.
think, there are a lot of ways you can spin that disco ball.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So is it like, those psychological, I know you're a psychotherapist, but is it one of those psychological, test things that, like, they have the quadrants? I forgot what they're called, but you like
Oh, the ENFP thing?
right, IMFP, J, whatever, o that where
Mhm.
you in your disco ball, you are in if you're looking for your spiritual practice, based on your answers, this is where you fit in, or is it something that you
Mm.
can evolve or move
Yeah, I
from
think you
one to
can
the
wander.
next? You can wander from it.
She said you
Uh,
could move.
but I didn't know if you
Just
were
gotta pay
kind of
attention.
but I didn't know if you had a propensity to be
Oh,
in one section most of the time, and maybe you benefit from going to another because of it or something like that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's nothing diagnostic in the book, because I think people are fluid with their spirituality, especially if they're DIYers. So, you might be at one point today and another point tomorrow. There are some suggestions in the last chapter of, if you're feeling a certain way, maybe you're a little weighed down by being too much in one area of the disco ball, you might then look to something else to kind of get you out of that rut and lift you up, or get a fresh perspective. So you could take a look at that. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like the flavors are gonna change where you are at on any given day. Probably, if you're a spiritual eclectic.
Mm, okay.
mhm.
Alright. So, you mentioned that when I was looking first of all, when I looked into your website is very psychotherapy, uh, slanted with some spiritual stuff in it, which is really cool 'cause it's a very different dichotomy than usually it's the other way around. How does a psychotherapist get into spirituality? How did you write a book about spirituality? It's not your first book about spirituality either. So how'd that shift happen?
Yeah. Well, the website thing is so funny because I have a DIYspirituality.com
Ah,
that's
gotcha.
really dedicated to the book. But I wanted to keep my website sort of clean for clients so they weren't overwhelmed or confused. Also, we have to be careful not to be too salesy. At least
Mhm.
I don't want to come off that way. I don't, maybe some people don't mind. But
Right.
um, anyway, that happened because I went to the Institute of Transpersonal Psychology
Mm.
for my master's degree in clinical psychology. It was a school in Palo Alto, no longer exists. And you can probably tell from the name, it was extremely spiritually imbued. And there was a way in which psychology and spirituality dovetailed. And that was like my sweet spot. And I just loved it. We were learning Aikido. I got certified in spiritual guidance. We were studying Jung and Maslow and, these fabulous trailblazing thought leaders. And so I've always felt like spirituality and faith are ways that you can find peace, in the privacy of your own space, without seeking help. And so, it needs to be pointed out. I think it's sort of an underutilized tool in that way.
Mm.
So we, with all the interviews and conversations we've had, we understand how well that connects together. But what has been the reaction of your peers?
Well, they don't give me too much trouble. I mean, I think the people that I know are doing really interesting things, and a lot of them have uh, they have a specialty, or a
Mhm.
podcast or what have you. I think people are intrigued and very supportive.
Good. That's
Mm.
that's good to hear.
Well, I have a
Yeah.
sweet spot for therapists that are understand the spiritual because that
Mm.
is the reason why I am here today. Because if it wasn't for my therapist, I would have lost everything. She was the one who turned me on to meditation, and I've never looked back. So I owe
Ah.
I owe her and you and all the folks like you who truly understand the importance of both
Mhm.
sides of your brain a huge thank you. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
Now, we're talking about spiritual practices, and a lot of there's a myth out there that you really have to have these elaborate practices, right? You've got to meditate twice a day, and you've got to do breath work and whatever, and you got to attend retreats, and you have to do all this kind of stuff. But you talk about the power of a micro ritual. Can you share some of that information with us?
Mhm.
Oh, sure. Well, I alluded to it before when I mentioned 11:11 on the clock,
Mm,
and, I really encourage people to pick their own thing. I mean, it could be every time you see a certain color car, it doesn't matter. Really, it doesn't. It's just that you have a cue that is gonna bring you to maybe 1 minute of connection. And that can be spent in any way you want. I always run through, I do actually run through the 4 quadrants during the minute, and do a little gratitude prayer, you might say.
oh,
But you can do it. You could even just be still and just go within and get in touch with your inner world and your sensations, and check in with your nervous system, and say hello to your soul if you want. I think these because we're so busy and we have so many things that we're trying to do, and then there are the things that we have to do, and the unforeseen challenges that arise every single day. It's nice to have just these quick and easy gets that will remind you you're not alone.
mm.
Mhm.
Uh, um, do you have to set like an alarm? Should you set an alarm every once in a while to
Mm.
get those reminders, or should you just rely on what's around?
Well, this is where it's so personal
Okay.
Mm.
because, right, I mean, what's going to work for you is what you should do. And some people like that alarm, tactic to
Mhm.
remember things. It's not a bad one, especially if you make it a nice tone or pretty
Little chime.
music. Yeah, yeah.
All right. So blaring rock and roll, not a good idea then.
Or like that.
Or that.
Yeah.
Fine. Remember, we have the disco ball. So
That's
if you
true.
wanted to just dance it out for 1 minute,
You just do the
you know,
hustle. Do, 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 do,
yes,
do, do, do. Oh, sorry.
yes.
Wow, I just dated myself.
Big time.
No, but well, yes, I'm right there with you, but I think that is a great way to express gratitude. Like if you had do the hustle, like come on your phone once a day and then you actually kind of did the hustle? I mean,
actually did it.
I mean, that
that
would make you smile really big for
it
that
totally
minute, wouldn't
would.
it?
Yeah, until
Uh,
someone walks in your office and goes, "What
no,
are
because
you
then
doing?"
they're smiling and you're both just
Or
laughing.
maybe you
That's
get them to do
great.
the hustle with you. Now that
Oh,
would be
yeah, there we go.
interesting.
Then you get the whole line going. So that actually leads me to my question because that's a little bit of a connection. So people, when you think you're talking about if you're just connecting for a minute, I think a lot of people are expecting the connection to be like this, whoa, like you're out there, your brain, you're feeling all of the glory of it. But it's not, I don't think, like that all the time. Can you tell us or tell our audience some examples of some small things that could be a connection that they might not realize so that they don't get disappointed?
yeah. Well, so they don't get disappointed. Well, again, we're back to expectations. I
Ah,
think,
Yeah.
you know,
Or maybe so they'll realize it. Maybe that's a better way to put it, you know? It's like kind of we talked about coincidences and if you reframe them as little miracles, it's
right.
like a different
yep.
experience.
Yes. Yeah. Well, you could do something as simple as look at a flower
Mhm.
and then really look at it again and notice the intricacies of, the center of the flower and the formation of the petals and all the like nuanced colors there. And maybe look at it until you feel something,
Mhm.
something that might be like awe
Mm,
Mm.
or curiosity or wonder.
It's just
And
losing
then
yourself.
mm.
yes, and then, then comes probably if you want gratitude. It's like and then there's, like, this connection,
Mhm.
like, "Thank you, universe. I can't believe" I love rain. I mean, if it's raining, I am celebrating. Can't
Really?
find it. I'm trying to find it. I
See, I'm the
can't get
complete opposite. I can't. I wither when it's raining. I'm such a child of the
Oh.
sun.
Yeah. I think I like the permission to just be inside and be cozy and, like, read a book or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But, that I have sort of a spiritual relationship with rain, and I notice when it happens, and I feel like I'm involved, and not that I'm causing it, but it's like a sign or a message, and it's, a purification or whatever it is, but
Mhm.
we can make meaning of things, and a lot of times we're just going through the grind,
Right.
and we forget
Mhm.
that there's magic all around.
Yeah. No.
And
Mhm.
so,
No question.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think that sense of wonder and awe and gratitude is something that is is tangible enough that
Mhm.
Right.
you can
Yeah.
feel a connection.
Yeah.
So I guess the first step really is finding what it is that jazzes you enough,
Yeah.
right? That's the first step that you have to find. But it's not an easy first step because now we're back to trying all these different modalities because you're trying to find that one that fits you, right? So
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
um, do you have is there a roadmap that this go try this one, if this doesn't work, go to this one, if this one doesn't work, go to this one, or you just kind of
There are a bunch of examples, yes, in the book, and they're illustrated and they're written very simply. And I also think that things that you're already doing and that are intuitive that you already know about are great to try, and you can try flavors of things. Like I just started doing yin yoga. I used to think it was so boring, but I now kind of appreciate it, right? But for you, like I would just notice what lights you up and then do more of it. So like maybe you do want to go to amusement parks by yourself and turn off your phone. I mean, all kidding aside, like if that somehow lights you up, there's something in it for you.
right.
And maybe it's, you're I like to think humanity is our community. So, because a DIYer doesn't really have a group
Mhm.
practice per se, unless that's part of their DIY. But if you're going to Busch Gardens and you're feeling like you're enjoying the love that people are experiencing there through their joy, that's very rich, and it could be a pointer. Like maybe you like to experience crowds by yourself. I don't know, but it certainly could be. I mean, if it feels good and if it meant something to you, then that would be an idea of what you might include in your DIY.
Right. So really, you need to be very aware. So when
Yeah.
something jazzes you, you go, oh,
Mhm.
this might be something, and then follow that path as opposed to a path that you assume is the one that you're supposed to do. Like, I'm supposed to do breath work. I'm supposed to be a past life regression. I'm supposed to do.
And it probably needs a path where you need to be present, not like, "Oh, I love playing video games. That makes me happy."
I
'Cause I would think
mean,
that
I
that
don't
would
know.
make, because you're just being distracted.
Well, that's true. That's true. That's a good point, right? So where's the line between being jazz and being spiritual and being distracted?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you can do spirituality, probably on YouTube, and it's a weird combo.
Yeah.
That's actually we're doing this right now, right? Podcast.
Yeah.
Right.
We're distracting people from their spirituality with technology and
Mm.
entertainment.
Well, we like to think that we are helping them to find their spirituality by being
Yes, okay,
entertained
let's do
enough
that.
to.
Let's
Yes.
do
Okay.
that.
Right.
Okay, so we have to answer the question. So can I have it again?
Yeah. So how do you find the line between the actual spirituality and just a distraction?
Yeah, yeah. We know what's good for us. And I think even young adults, this book is dedicated to young adults who are launching, and because this is a portable support
Mhm.
toolbox for them. But we can all benefit from having a spiritual soup. And so I think that your intuition will tell you if you're diving too much into stuff that's not good for you, whether it is like being on your phone too much or the video games or junk
Mm.
food or
Mhm.
you know. And it's up to you to take care of yourself and make those discerning choices. So if you're feeling low, then you can try to get back in touch with nature, back in touch with your soul and spirit, right? You can do something devotional, and I think it will move your energy.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Now you seem like a skeptic for sure. This big pause. What's coming?
No, it's trying to put the pieces together because
Well, I mean, you have to be a little bit of a grown up about it, young adults. You got to know when someone's saying, "Okay, you need to take those." Don't try so hard. Just kind of relax into it. That doesn't mean just go sit on the couch, eat chips, and watch TV.
but like
There's
but for
you have to.
example, Busch Gardens, right?
Right.
I could say, sorry, Karen, I've got to go to Busch Gardens every weekend because I need to follow my spirituality.
Yes, and when you went to Busch Gardens and you came back saying that you had had this day where you were outside and you were feeling the breeze on your skin and watching the people and literally listening to the sounds, that if that's what you need to do every weekend, that's what you need to do every
But
weekend.
then couldn't it just be that I just want to go be distracted by all that stuff? I
I
want to
mean,
go ride
I guess if it
Pantheon all day long.
well, I mean, that's different. I guess it depends on why you're going. I don't know.
Yeah.
Does it depend on why you're
Well,
going?
you know what I think one of the things you're getting to is just presence,
Mhm.
and you were present.
Yeah.
And so you showed up for that fully and you were there in the moment. So it is important to be present. And if it's at Busch Gardens, that's okay. And you should go every other weekend
Yeah,
or
we got the
whatever.
pass.
I mean, why? I mean, we deny ourselves of these simple pleasures. It's
Yeah.
strange.
Well, it's easy for Karen to say that's what you should be doing, but after a couple weekends, she's gonna be like, "Hello, I need you to do some work around the house, buddy."
You can do that before you go.
Oh,
But
it's not.
I
Or the
didn't
next
hear
day.
her say that.
Right.
No, trust me.
Oh,
Seriously?
well,
No, it's not like that. Not like that. But after a
no,
while,
but
you're gonna be bummed that I'm not around because you're always at Busch Gardens. How about spending some time with us, kind of thing, right?
Well, I'd miss you.
I'd miss you
But
too
why can't she go with you?
because I wouldn't be
Maybe that would
alone.
change. Yeah. But maybe you can be alone at the farmer's market and turn off your phone while you're shopping for
Yep.
groceries for her.
Oh, I see what you did there.
I like that. I
Nice.
love her. She's very, very wise.
She is, yes. Mhm.
But just the turning off, the fact that your phone was dying, I think saved you. I think
Yeah.
that's probably was the gift of that experience. And there is, a page in the book about phone fast. And it's actually, I just emailed you before we went on air that I don't have my phone. And if I forget my phone, I just don't get it because I like vacations from my phone.
Hmm.
Right.
Don't you just get into texting like as soon as you get up and it's like you're off and running and
Oh,
that's your day?
no, 100%. I think the phone is probably the single biggest obstacle to my peace of mind ever, and I'm
Yeah.
constantly on it. And I can't put it down. In fact, at times when I do put it down, it actually feels really good.
And then you get mad at me when I don't know where my phone is because I've left it somewhere. Because I'm like, I don't
Right.
want to deal with this.
Yeah.
No, very true, very true.
Yeah.
But then this borders some like the word authenticity, right? Authentic is thrown around in this wellness space all the time, right?
Mhm.
But what does it actually mean to have an authentic spiritual experience? Because that's what we're trying to find the answers to, right?
Yeah, yeah. I'm so curious about how fed up you are with all of these words and these practices and the whole culture that's so fascinating. Um, so okay, I think of it as what rings true. So if I were to say to a client, I guess let's not use that example. If I were to say to you, why don't you meditate twice a day instead of once a day? Okay, so let's just, you might do that and you might really not like that. It might not work for you. And in fact, it might make you not even like to meditate at all.
Hmm.
And so obviously that's not the right thing for you to do. And now if you feel like, I don't know if meditation is really doing it for me anymore, you could shift to presence, which I think is doing it for you, and say, look, every day I'm going to turn off my phone for half an hour and I'm just going to leave it in the drawer and I'm going to go outside and be quiet
Right.
and try that. And if that feels to you more connected, more nourishing, more appreciated, then do that instead. So I think it's a personal practice that where you're curating based on what hits the tuning fork for you.
Okay. So then we step into the realm of spiritual practices that say you have to do this or you have to do that in order to reach whatever goal that spiritual practice is meant to reach. So if you become part of a group, let's say, that says, specifically thinking about that meditation retreat I went to a few years ago, where
Mhm.
you meditate at 8 o'clock in the morning every day, you meditate at 5 o'clock in the afternoon every day, and in between you fast, and you're silent for this many hours. And do what would you say to those people that say that the only way to reach enlightenment or spiritual growth is to have that type of um, not ambition? What am I looking for?
Discipline?
Discipline. Because you're
Yeah.
saying the complete opposite. You're saying do what spirit moves you. But there are
Mhm.
practices that say this is the only way forward. What would you say to
Mm.
those folks?
Well, I want to ask you, after you did that, did you feel different? Did you feel like you got, let's call it results from that experience?
I mean, during it, I felt pretty good, but afterwards, it was probably very shortly after I got back that I was back to normal, I would say.
Yeah. And I don't regard your spirituality as any less valid than the person who's leading that.
Okay.
So I resonate with what you're saying because I've been to a lot of these things. And there are prescribed methods. And if that's your jam, that's awesome. But it's if you're putting on somebody else's suit and it doesn't fit, it's not for you.
Right.
And
Right.
I don't believe in the promises. I don't believe in, go to Kundalini yoga and you'll have whatever, Kundalini rising. I mean, I think it's very experience based, right? It, it- the interesting thing too is that it's kind of like we're opening ourselves up for something to happen to us.
Mhm.
And there are ways to do that. And yet, really, what we want is just for something to happen. Do
Mhm.
you know what I mean? And it's
I
like,
do.
well, I did all these things. Why did nothing happen?
Right.
And so it's okay to try stuff if you enjoy it and then see, but maybe just go curiously
Mhm.
without expectations.
But then how do you feel about that thought process when you do something over and over and over and over and over and over and over again? You do the same way every time, every time. Don't you fall into a rut? Doesn't that make you automatically kind of lose that spiritual sense? Or am I just wrong?
Yeah, I mean, listen, what you're saying is valid. You could look at it like, practicing is important. And so if you keep with it when you're bored and you get to the other side and you're still practicing, then that's you're on a path. You know what I mean? And that's cool. But if you feel like it's not the thing if your heart's not in it, I don't know. I mean, maybe do something else. But I do think that we're such different people, right?
Mhm.
I teach the Enneagram. There are 9 different types of people that we talk about, and we have such different personalities. And I'm the type that really loves freedom. And people who get bored or who like variety, they may not do well with that type of a practice.
Right.
And so that's where you dip into different things.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. So then everyone's different, and
Well, yeah, I mean, there are some people that does work for.
well, I just always thought that, right? We talk all the time about growth happening at the edge of your comfort zone. So if
Mhm.
you just only stay in your comfort zone, you're not growing. So you have to kind of stretch
I
outside
don't
that.
think growth only happens at the edge of your comfort
See,
zone.
I kind of do,
No,
honestly, but that's just me.
that's just you.
But those are
Everybody's
2
experience is
different
different.
ways. Well, yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to.
No, no,
No.
please. You are our
I was,
guest.
Yes.
ah,
You should be the one talking way more than us.
Mhm.
no. I think that both are getting you out of your comfort zone, whether you're sticking with a practice that you just continue to do regardless. I think
Ah,
you're out of your comfort zone there too because you're sticking with it. It's like when you go to the gym but you don't feel like it. You know what I mean?
right,
So you're getting out of your comfort zone because you're not doing what you really want to do, which is not doing it. Or you're getting out of your comfort zone by trying something new.
right. Or you're getting out of you are getting out of your comfort zone by leaving it because it's not doing anything. It's not giving you results that you're looking for. So you leave to find something else that might give you more. I'm like being a dead horse.
Yes, you
I'm
are.
Well, I am curious, like, have you guys stumbled upon in all of these interviews that you've done, like anything that felt like you discovered the thing that is going to be your jam, your spiritual, playlist that you want to play over and over?
Um, why are you looking at me?
I'm curious what your answer's gonna be.
Oh, I would say, I've had pretty good success with breath work. And as far as making that connection and feeling really connected, I don't do it all the time. I don't really hardly ever do it, which, that's my and then I complain.
Might be part of the
But,
problem. Yeah.
but that's the problem. But I think that's something that for me personally worked pretty well.
Yeah. I have not. I have not.
Yeah.
And people, we go on other people's shows all the time and they ask us, what's the one thing that really, I can tell you a bunch of different things that were really nifty, were really
Yeah.
cool, right?
Mm.
But
Yeah.
the one thing, I don't know that I've found the one thing that really
Yeah.
floats my boat.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, you're the skeptic,
that's
metaphysicians.
true.
So
Skeptic.
maybe you'd be out of business if you found it.
Oh, so you think maybe psychotherapist speaking now, right? And so you think maybe I'm blocking my finding my thing because I don't want it to change?
You might be committed to searching.
Oh,
That's
good Lord.
but that's a practice too.
Is it? No, I don't like that practice. I want to find it. I'm a
Well, then
finder.
you're on the edge of your comfort zone and you're learning or growing.
But, well, and I mean, have you ever had an experience where you felt connected to something greater than yourself or to your own soul and spirit?
Oh, 100%. In fact, I was in the airport in Atlanta one time, and out of the blue, it was the weirdest thing. Out of the blue, I'm walking towards my next flight, the next gate, and I had to stop because I was breathless. All of a sudden, I felt myself. I understood like I was connected to every single person in that airport, and I couldn't explain it and I couldn't shake it. All I knew was that that person was another version of Will, that person was another version of Will, and that person was, we were all just going about our lives in different ways and experiencing different things, and it was perfect. And then it was gone.
That's
And
amazing.
I have been trying to find it again since then, and I've not been able to find it. But it was, I did experience that
Were you on
wholeheartedly.
mushrooms?
I was, I was not. No, I wasn't on anything. I was traveling for business.
Yeah.
Fun life, baby.
I was not
And did you
realizing.
have your meditation practice going during that time frame?
Yes, I did. Yes.
Do you attribute it to anything that you brought on?
Good Lord. You know what? I just put the pieces together. You know what the common denominator between that is for me?
What?
I was alone in a sea of people.
It's your thing!
It's my thing. Apparently it's my thing.
Found your thing.
Yay, so I don't have to go to all the festivals.
I mean,
Just the fun
every
ones.
once in a while, right?
Yeah.
Well, so yeah, no, that's true. I had not made that connection. I had never made that connection before. But yeah, that was the one unifying thing.
Wow.
I was just traveling
Mhm.
on my own. I was listening to a spiritual podcast in my ear as I was walking from one gate to the next, and all of a sudden, it just smacked me in the face, made me stop, and had to catch my breath. It was incredible.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And I don't think you have to have those experiences all the time. You know, just
Yeah,
having had an experience like that,
but I want
you
to.
know, you want to.
I do. I want to.
Well, I'm really curious what they were saying on that podcast.
I don't even
Were they
remember which one it
talking about
was.
Yeah, I don't
Honestly,
know.
I listened to so many that it could have been anything. Honestly.
But I do think that you could probably find that
Mm.
now that you know.
Well, now you
Mhm.
mentioned mushrooms. Are you promoting the fact that maybe people should try mushrooms to get connected to like that?
No, I'm not.
Oh.
That's not my thing, but you know how I said a lot of my colleagues are into certain things and they have specialties, like, I could hook you up, but
Ah.
I'm kidding.
She got the
No,
hookup.
I no,
I know a
my
guy.
people I respect a lot, um, really believe, you know, in psilocybin. I'm
Mhm.
just not it's not my thing.
Right. I have actually been curious about psilocybin. I know it's not legal, so I haven't done it because I don't want to break the law. Said it in posterity on the recording so that
There you go.
no matter what, I would
Well,
not, no.
and I don't think you need to do it because the thing is, like, when you have an experience like you did at the airport, um, that's really what you would be going for, I
Yeah.
think, anyway.
Right. I guess I could only imagine I would be able to access it more routinely, I guess, if I was microdosing, for example, or going on a one hero's journey, or I don't know. I have no idea. I haven't done them, so we'll see. But um, with the time that we have, I want to make sure that we do a little bit deeper dive on your book because I kind of saw on your site you've got a little sample, like a 15-page sample of it, and it's really fun. It's a fun looking book. It's not a typical like uh, thick book that you read, for yeah.
It has a lot of illustrations.
Oh,
It's
It's
wow,
got
very
that's
a
beautiful.
colorful.
lot of
Yeah.
illustrations, and the illustrations are really fun. It's just a
Yeah.
fun book. So,
Yeah.
what, in your estimation, what gap does your book fill, and how is it different from a lot of the other spiritual guides that are out there?
You know, it's a serious topic, but it's held lightly with this book. It's really meant to be a coffee table book that you can put like on your nightstand and just crack open and have a little light thrown your way. And That's funny that I said that because this says shine, love, and light. And this is a heart map. But anyway, so it's dedicated to young adults because we do a lot of talking about the empty nest and how to handle that, but we don't do that much for the launching young adults. And I feel like, what are they supposed to do when they find themselves in a different town and they're no longer under the roof and they feel like they don't have any grounding. And so this is meant for, people who are seekers, but also for young adults and people of all ages to have a sort of portable foundation that they can draw on anytime very easily.
Mm. Well, I loved it. I read the 15 pages I had available to me. I
I
read
think
those.
that's just such a great idea because it's true. You think about the empty nesters, you think about children, teens, but you don't think about the people that are all of a sudden having the biggest life change imaginable. They're on their own. They're trying to figure it all out. Oh my
Mm.
gosh. There
So
should be tons of books like that. Thank you.
yeah, yeah. So what's the feeling that you want readers to feel the most when they close the book after having experienced it? What is the feeling you hope that they get?
I hope that they feel excited to lean into their DIY spirituality. I feel like it is permission sort of to do it your own way. And so I hope it's an encouragement, it's sort of like a green light.
Okay. So all this conversation about finding your spiritual playlist and all that kind of stuff, do you help people to find that on their own?
Well, I can. Sometimes, I feel like it's such a personal thing, and it's funny how I don't go around talking about spirituality regularly to all the people in my life. Clients, I'm really careful, if they come for psychotherapy, then I let them lead, and if they don't wanna talk about spirituality, it will not come up.
Sure.
But I do spiritual guidance, so it if somebody wants to explore that in specific, I can do that. I can help them with that,
Okay.
and I enjoy doing it.
Okay. Because I know as a psychotherapist, you can only practice in certain areas, right? So wherever you are, that's I think you're in California, is that, if I'm not mistaken. So
Yes,
that's
yes.
you practice there. So you couldn't necessarily practice in Virginia, for example. But for spiritual guidance, maybe all bets are
Yeah,
off. Yeah.
exactly. Right. So I can basically coach or be a spiritual guide to anybody, no matter where they live,
Mhm.
but I wouldn't take on a psychotherapy client who wasn't living in California. So
Sure.
that's right. It's
Sure.
very astute of you.
Ah.
So if you would like to have a spiritual guidance session with me, and by the way, if you don't have my book, I'm sending you one. I thought you had it. I'm sorry about
Oh, no,
that.
that's okay.
Yay.
We'd love to have a copy. Yes, but we don't have one yet. No. But
Okay.
We have a kid that's gonna be launched in a few years, so
yes.
that'll be good to have.
Okay, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So then, if someone wants to buy your book or reach out and get connected with you for spiritual guidance, there's two different places to go to for that, right? Or
Yes.
where should someone go?
Yeah, you know what? Just faithfree.com is a great place to go. And then you'll see there'll be a link to the book and
Okay.
it'll take you to DIYspirituality.com.
Okay. Perfect. We're gonna.
And I do have a contact form. So if you or someone you know and love wants spiritual guidance, you just fill out the form.
Okay. Perfect. Well, we're going to add a link to our show notes. So if you didn't have a pen in that particular point in time, you want to connect with Faith, all you need to do is go to skepticmetaphysician.com, go to her episode page. You'll find those links laid in there directly. So it's easy for you to connect and find your faith.
Look at you.
Ah!
Oh,
Yeah.
see
So,
what you did there.
Faith, thank you so much for coming on the show. We didn't even get a chance to talk about Free Dome, which I'm really, really curious
Oh,
about. But
man.
maybe, well, we got a couple minutes. Tell us really quickly, what's Free Dome? Tell us about that.
Well, that's a brand that I'm launching that is meant to offer people tools to enhance their spirituality and also signal their DIY spirituality with a little divine wink. And so in the works, coming soon.
Awesome.
Well, I love that
Yeah.
title, so I'm
I
definitely
do
going
too.
to follow
Yeah.
you so I can find it. But
Thank you. And I love it that you have you've introduced a new DIY spirituality in terms of going into a crowd by yourself. Like, wow. I mean, what could be more authentic?
touche, doctor. Faith, it's been an absolute pleasure getting to know you. Thanks so much for being on the Skeptic Metaphysicians.
Thank you for having me.